The Nintendo Switch 2 is the most successful console launch of all time, which makes me wonder, why are there so many content creators and media outlets that absolutely hate this device that, truthfully, they don't even have to buy or even utilize? But I'll give you a little secret. The reason they talk about it is it makes you click on their videos, read their articles, which is quite often, pardon my French, a lot of bull. That's why they do it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that and what I think the outcome of this is ultimately going to be. Without wasting any time, let's go ahead and get on into it. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of DeckedUP, a gaming and tech podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova. I know it has been a while since I have dropped an episode of DeckedUP. It has literally been over a month. And the last episode I dropped was, hey, I got the Nintendo Switch 2. I talked about it, talked about my experience with it, what I liked, what I didn't like. And yeah, it's pretty much how I got it from the day of launch. And so since that console has dropped, it's been, at the time of this recording, I'm recording this on Thursday, July 10th at 2:37 in the afternoon. This device has become the most successful gaming console launch of all time. It has millions. It's sold in the first day or so, either the first day or the first 5 days. It's sold over 3 million units, or over 5 million, 3 or 5 million units, one of the two. And it's just quite interesting to me how there is just so much animosity aimed at this device. Now, a lot of this actually started when the Switch 2 when they did the first reveal for it, right? A lot of it started there. And then when we had the next direct, which went more into like the game key cards and everything like that, there was, in my opinion, I feel like this was kind of and this could be me going down, putting a tinfoil hat on and going down the rabbit hole and saying, oh, it's a conspiracy. But it kind of comes off that way, that there's a lot of people that have an agenda trying to make the Nintendo Switch seem like it's a failed product. Why they're doing that is just the part that's just so weird to me, because it's so unnecessary. But from the first reveal to the first Nintendo Direct, specifically focusing on the Nintendo Switch 2, to the weeks or months leading up to the launch, and from the launch after, you've seen so many content creators from Digital Foundry, the Dreamcast guy, a bunch of all these frauds that are going around just talking so much smack about the Nintendo Switch 2. It's underpowered. Do you guys remember the narrative that was put out there that no one's going to buy it? It's going to be the worst selling console, and, nobody's going to, who's going to buy essentially game key cards? This is Hogwarts Legacy for the Switch 2. Who's going to buy that? Why would anyone want to purchase Street Fighter 6 for the Switch 2 or Cyberpunk? This is an old game. These are old games. Nintendo only has one new game, which is Mario Kart World. And then there's a narrative, Mario Kart World is not as good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Granted, people wanted that narrative so hard, saying that, Mario Kart World looked worse than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's so funny hearing that narrative. I was just like, are you guys playing this on a console, or not on a console, on a TV that has HDR10 capabilities and a high refresh rate? And the funny thing I found, and this is just from me personally, reaching out to different people all over the world, right? But if we were specifically talking about United States folks, people all over the country, content creators, people in the media and such, a lot of people were basically saying they just have a basic 4K TV. They don't have 4K with 120 hertz, 144 hertz. They don't have the HDR10 capability on their TV. They just have a basic TV. And for me, my primary TV, as well as my bedroom TV, both have 4K and go up to 120 hertz. It has the HDR10 capability on it. They're both Vizios, and Mario Kart 8, Cyberpunk, Street Fighter 6, every game that I throw at it, it looks fantastic. The Switch 2 editions of games. And it's just interesting Because I think a lot of people probably have bought 4K TVs. A lot of people buy the cheap ones. They don't get the ones with the higher quality, which I'm not trying to be elitist, but if you want the best picture quality, you might have to either wait for Wario 64 to drop, a tweet saying, hey, this is on sale at this price. Get this down $2,000 or $1,000. That's how you can get deals. Like sign up for Wario Kart or just, get the notifications whenever he drops. You get a lot of good things. Trust me on that. So a lot of people were using just basic 4K TVs with nothing. I mean, even on a basic 4K TV without the HDR, it still looks good, but people complained about that, right? And it was just wild. I'm like, yeah, you're saying a game that is over 10 years old, which is Mario Kart 8, right? I mean, I'm not even really saying Deluxe, even though Deluxe came out, what, 2017 at launch. Not even, was it at launch? No, it wasn't at launch. It's a couple of weeks after launch of the original Switch. So that came out in 2017. Then you have Mario Kart 8. The original launch was 2014. So you got a game that is over a decade old, and you're saying that game looks better than the new one. Please get some eye drops, put some glasses on or something, because you're just full of cap, right? It's just stop the cap, stop the lies. All right. Next narrative, the game key cards. People aren't going to buy them. We're going to boycott them. They're going to flop. They're not going to buy it. Sales have not impacted at all. Now, a lot of people are saying that the game key card thing is Nintendo being greedy, and that's why it's a thing, and nobody's going to buy it and all this other nonsense. And, they could have fit everything on the cartridges and all this other stuff. Well, actually, let's even go further with that. Let's go with the pricing of the games, because people were saying, oh, the price of these games, every game is going to be $80 or $90. And Nintendo is setting a very negative precedent with it being that. They're going to make every game be $80. It's going to be $80 digitally and $90 physically. And you know what I mean? YouTubers and content creators were lying about that. Were running that narrative, from Dreamcast Guy to Young Ya and all these other people. They were all lying about this. This is why, again, putting a tinfoil hat on, a lot of people are just creating narratives, but it's a way to get you to click on the damn video. That's what they're doing. As someone who's been in the content creating game for 15 years, I have seen it all. I have been in Discord groups and chat groups, where people are coming up with different ways. And, hey, how can we make these people click on this video? What thumbnail should I use? Should I do the DICK sucking face and all this other stuff? Like, I've seen how content creators get. This is why I generally don't associate with other content creators. There's a handful of them I do, but there's the vast majority I don't, because I understand that they own that BS. But nonetheless, that was the narrative being spun. Every game is going to be $80 digitally, $90 or $100 plus physically. Then there was the game key cards, because the game is not really on there, or it's the code in the box. And the thing that gets me with that is, well, it's not true. These games come at varying prices. Like, if I were to pull up, okay, Mario Kart 8, full game on the cart, or if you wanted to save yourself like $30, you would have got it with the bundle, which was, to me, what made the most sense. That, okay, $80 for that, $80 for Kirby, $80 for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Nintendo's giving you full games. Could they have been cheaper? Yeah. But if they feel and this is not, and someone, I already know I'm going to get some idiot in the comment section that's going to be like, oh, you're defending Nintendo. You're being a shill for Nintendo. No, here's the thing. And this is something you understand if you ever run a business, like I've got a business, right? I do consultations for multi-million-dollar companies, billion-dollar companies, influencers, and so much more, actors too. And the thing is, I can tell you as someone who is a business owner, and if you talk to anyone who's a successful business owner, you realize that, hey, everybody ain't going to buy it, but those who will buy it will buy it. So I ain't even got to worry. I set the price, and if they do, they do. They don't, they don't. And I just keep it moving, which is what Nintendo is doing. This is general basic business psychology. And there are people that have this mindset that, oh, well, Nintendo games never go on sale. They never drop below $41 or $39. Nintendo doesn't They don't usually do that. You'll catch an eShop sale with a handful of first party titles. Maybe Best Buy or Amazon or Target or Walmart will have first party games on sale. But yeah, they generally maintain their price. Why are you mad at Nintendo about that? You can always buy it used or get it secondhand off, like from a book off or a hard off or from mom and pop shops. You can't be mad at Nintendo for being... Here's the thing that I feel like a lot of gamers, they fail to understand. These companies are for profit. They are literally for profit. They're there to make money. None of these companies are your friend, and none of these companies owe you anything. If you want to buy a game, buy a game. You don't want to buy a game, there are older games, cheaper games you can go with, free to play games, mobile games. There's all kinds of alternatives as opposed to just trying to get the latest and greatest thing. And as someone who reviews the newest games and the newest tech constantly, the door is revolving so quickly, it's hard to keep up. So if I was just an everyday consumer looking at just picking up a game and playing it, then I would literally just get a game, one or a handful of games, and that's what I'm going to play for the next couple of weeks or next couple of months, you know? And there's so many amazing games that have come out, you know, and you don't always have to be the first. You don't always have to get the first AAA parties titles, but there's just we're spoiled for so much choice right now, and I think so many people don't understand that we have the blessing of having choice. They just feel that we need to, like, you know, we got to do this, you know, they need to bring the prices down. They don't have to do anything. They can do whatever they want to, and it's fine. That's okay. Buy it or don't, but move on from it. You know, this Nintendo's greedy. Every corporation is for profit, dumbass. Every company, my company's for profit. We about that money. And if you think this company is righteous, sure, sweetheart, sure. But yeah, it's interesting seeing the anti-Nintendo narrative that's been going around. You know, I saw a Drink Glass guy flip-flop. He went from, I'm not going to buy it, I'm not going to cover it, and Nintendo Switch a month later, blah, blah. The amount of these content creators that are grifters that would do anything for clicks and views and your, CPMs and all that. It's just ridiculous. Okay, the next thing, the game key cards. You know, going back to that, most of these games are, you know, Cyberpunk being the exception. Everything's on the cart. 6, this right here, game key card. Hogwarts Legacy, game key card, which means basically majority of the game is on the cart. Well, a small portion of the game is on the cart. And then you also have the bulk that's going to need to be downloaded. Now, why people are so angry about this is kind of something I don't understand, because you've been dealing with that for generations from PlayStation 3 up to now. So PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. Now Nintendo's doing it. At least it's not the cloud version. Now, could they fit all these games on the cart? Maybe. But again, it's like, it is what it is. I know a lot of people like, I want my games to be physical. I'm a physical only collector. I want to own my games. Okay, cool. But these games you're crying about, especially y'all who have these gaming walls, how often do you go back and play these games that you've had this massive collection for? Let's be truthful. Let's be completely truthful. Let's keep it a buck. Let's talk about it. Do you go back and play all these games that you have this massive collection for? 9 times out of 10, majority of people don't. But the idea of collecting, the kleptomaniac and a lot of people is to own. I'm sorry to tell you, there's very little things that actually you will ever own in life. And honestly, why are so many of you guys so caught up in owning a game when you don't even own a house or a car or any equity? That is what I would be more concerned with owning than a piece of media. But let's talk about the other thing, the price of the games. You got games for the Switch too that range from the price of $10, $20, $39, $29, $49, $59, $69, $79. Sounds like there's a variety of prices for the multitude of games that are out. Imagine that. So what I've noticed is another one, and this will probably be the final talking point I have before I start cooking it up. Now we got the folks at Digital Foundry, and this is the latest narrative that has been started. And I've seen all these outlets go on with it, all these content creators run with this narrative about how the screen on the Switch 2, the LCD, It has the worst response time. It's the worst panel to use. It's just awful, right? It's response panel. When you're playing these games, are you really paying that close attention? Until Digital Foundry made that video, did any of you dumbasses care about that? No. This hive mind mentality that has hijacked entertainment, society, gamers is tiring. It's just play games. Just play your game. If you want to play something, play. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. Keep it moving. Keep it pushing. It is not necessary to be so embroiled, so caught up, so emotional over a hobby. And let's talk about this too. Let's talk about this. The price of the Switch 2, $39 and $4.99 for the Mario Kart bundle. How dare Nintendo make a console that costs that much? It needs to be affordable because they're the company that makes consoles that are affordable. Yeah, they do. Go buy a Nintendo Switch or a Switch Lite. No, I'm not trying to sound like Don Matrix and what he said with the Xbox One and go get a 360 if you don't want always online. But with the tech, and this is the biggest thing I've started to notice with people, is people don't understand the tech that is within this device, right? Nintendo and Nvidia collaborate on this device. This device has DLSS technology built into it, which means it can upscale and also render better. You've got a Nvidia like graphics card and you can use DLSS, you're gonna get pretty good, right? And if you look at Xbox, PlayStation, and majority of these gaming handheld PCs, they're all AMD. So you use the FSR technology, except for PlayStation and the Xbox. They don't use FSR. PlayStation, the Pro actually uses their own type of graphical processing. But nonetheless, the tech that's in the Switch 2, you have VRR support and a panel that can have up to 120 hertz. Yes, 1080p handheld. Also has capability of HDR. Can go up to 4K when docked, right? So you have basically two different graphics modes, right? And when you dock it, your dock acts like an eGPU, which can take it from 1080p, which it is in handheld, to 4K 60. So handheld 1080p 120, docked 4K 60. Okay. DLSS support. You're basically running games that run on modern consoles in a handheld factor. Why would you think this would cost less than $450 to $500? If you guys recall, I did a podcast where I talked about the price of this. I said before we even knew the details of the price, actually before I knew, any of us knew what the Switch 2 would even be, I said on this podcast, needed VRR support, you need to go up to 120 hertz, an AP screen, be able to do docked 4K with HDR. 4K 60 is fine. I know not a lot of people can take advantage of 4K 120 or higher, but those are the things that I said you need to have, because the Steam Deck is what really pushed this to be as good as it is. It showed you can have a AAA experience handheld and not look like it came out 2-3 generations ago. And we've seen evolution from the Steam Deck to the ROG Ally, to the Lenovo Legion Go, to the MSI Claw, to the One X players and all these other devices. We have seen the evolution of handheld gaming that prompted Nintendo, hey, we need to make this more powerful. And when you really line it up, yes, it does cost roughly the same amount as like a PlayStation 5 Pro or Xbox Series X. Yes, those are more powerful, but as something that has the capability of playing the titles that will go to that platform, those platforms, handheld and docked, the price is right. There's no way you're going to get all that tech in it and it's going to cost less than what it is. And to think it should, which just tells me you don't know anything about tech. And one of the things I wish people would do these days is actually be honest about the fact that they don't know stuff. Instead of trying to act like authorities on everything. And I'm saying this as someone who has no problem admitting what I don't know, but what I do know as someone who works alongside the gaming and tech industry is this tech is not cheap. This tech costs money. This tech is phenomenal to be able to be in a tablet itself. So yeah, you got the people complaining, oh, no OLED. Okay, if you're probably going to get one down the line. Oh, the battery life sucks. What do you expect playing the games at the way and the rate that it is? 2 hours is fine. Get an external battery if you want. be near an outlet. You're not going to get the same battery life that you would off of the OLED or the light with this having a better screen than both. My, 1080p LCD over, a 720p OLED or even 720p LCD as the Switch Lite has. You guys wanted the Switch Pro, and now you got it with the Switch 2. And so many people complain about it, which is just wild work. But yeah, people need to move on. If you're going to play it, cool. If you're not going to play it, you don't care about it. If you're going to be vocal, and if you're going to vote when it comes to gaming and boycott, vote with your wallet. Grandstanding and crying on social media is not the way. Having discussions is fine. Where Nintendo could have improved, where they've dropped the ball, those are valid conversations to have. But these people that are going into any topic, like there's a point where if you were a content creator making anything about the Switch 2 for like the first 3 weeks, you were getting attacked by people saying you're shilling, you're enabling Nintendo and all this other stuff. Hive-minded sheeple. You're not adding anything to the conversation. You're actually not adding anything at all. You're just being a loudmouth prick that just thinks that they're important. You want to pop off because you can hide behind the anonymity that the internet gives you. Wild work. But all that being said, though, if the Switch 2 is for you, cool. If it's not for you, keep it moving. Telling people not to buy it, telling people that they need to go and get a Steam Deck or a handheld gaming PC or how much better console game, PlayStation. What is it people saying? Oh, Nintendo has kids console. Attentions. It's just attention seeking. And we're in a time where people are so desperate for attention, they'll do anything for it. You guys are like, you attention-seeking idiots are just like the folks who were eating Tide Pods. Remember when people were doing that? For attention, for online clout. It's pathetic. Move on with your lives. That's my thoughts on Switch 2 and all the fake narratives that are going around about it. The clickbaiting, the rage baiting, all the nonsense. There are valid criticisms to be had with the Switch 2. But for the most part, a lot of it's just people just want to make noise. All that being said, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. If you did, give us a like, share it around. Follow us on Spotify, which is the sponsor of this podcast. Check us out on YouTube. If you didn't like this podcast, hey, feel free to give me feedback. You can say what you want. And if you're an ass, I'll just block you. Grown man doing grown man stuff over here. But with that being said, catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe, be blessed, have aloha. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, and we hope.